Well, the Labour government has implemented a controversial pay rise for prisoners in England and Wales, which marks the first such increase in 8 years. The decision will cost around £4.4 million and it will affect around 85,000 offenders who will receive an additional £1 per week in their basic pay. Hello, I am Adam Cherry and this is GBN Originals. So the pay rise translates into a 6.6% increase. Now this comes at a time, obviously, when the government and the country is facing significant, economic challenges, to say the least, and has announced recently substantial tax increases. It comes at the same time as all that, not that I would say the best politics, but there we go. The prison service justified the decision by stating that prisoners' wages had fallen behind inflation during the 8-year freeze since their last increase in 2016. So they argue that earning money for honest work is crucial in helping offenders rehabilitate and stay out of trouble, which ultimately contributes to public safety further down the line. The implementation of the pay rise, however, was discreet. You might not have heard about this. Governors of all public sector prisons in England and Wales received a memo in September, which was just 2 months after Labour came into power, instructing them to increase wage rates for the prisoners. So the extra money began appearing on prisoners' wage slips and canteen sheets from October. The timing of that is particularly noteworthy because, of course, it comes just as Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, is preparing to implement that budget that includes a record-breaking £40 billion in tax rises. Obviously, the juxtaposition of increasing prisoner pay while at the same time implementing these gigantic tax increases, none of which were in the manifesto, by the way, is going to spark a little bit of a debate. Also, this move follows the July announcement that stripped more than 10 million pensioners of their winter fuel allowance. Is the thing we were all talking about. The contrast between these decisions, I would suggest, is going to raise a few questions about the government's priorities and spending choices. The pay rise also comes against the backdrop of a growing prison population in England and Wales. Remember the footage of those prisoners having to be released because the jail cells were so full. I think everyone's got that in their memory, so this doesn't necessarily come at a great time. Recent statistics show that the number of inmates has surged by over 1,000 since the beginning of 2025, and it reached 86,802 as of February the 3rd. Now, this increase puts additional pressure on an already strained system, as I just mentioned, with only 1,885 available spots for inmates within the current operational capacity. We're running out of space, and the government has been grappling with this for some time. They already implemented that early release scheme, as I mentioned, in late last year to temporarily alleviate the problem. However, these measures appear to have had a, limited long-term impact as prison numbers continue to rise and we still don't have enough space. So the decision to increase prisoner pay raises lots of questions. One, of course, is rehabilitation versus punishment. Is this justified? Because the move aligns with the argument.
Us blokes hate talking about a little thinning up top, and many of us settle with that balding look, but that wasn't for me, and that's why I went to Elite Hair, the world's leading hair loss clinic, and now I've had over 4,000 new hairs added to this barnet, and very soon I'm going to be rocking some brand new flowing locks, and you can too. So how does it work? Step 1, I sent the team a set of photos of my head. Step 2, I then spoke to one of the Elite Hair staff who looked through my photo submissions and worked out a treatment plan for me. Step 3, Elite Hair then organised accommodation and the treatment. I was at their state-of-the-art treatment centre in Istanbul, and their incredibly kind staff took me through the process, and before I knew it, I was in surgery. Elite Hair and their leading medical experts have specialised in pain-free treatments using the sleep deep method, and they really mean that. I felt incredibly relaxed the whole time, and I haven't felt any pain since. Check out Elite Hair using the link in the description. When you do, Elite Hair will provide you with a free personalised hair analysis. Then you'll join over 100,000 happy patients. Hit that link and start your hair growth journey like I did today.
Because the move aligns with the argument that providing compensation for prison work can aid in rehabilitation and reduce recidivism. However, critics may view it as being a bit too lenient. And are there other ways we can spend the money? Because with the country facing all these economic problems, we mentioned that £40 billion tax rise, I think it's fair to question whether £4.4 million is not a lot in terms of the overall budget, but still, it's not nothing either, is it? It could be better spent elsewhere, particularly given the recent cuts to the winter fuel allowance. It could also be seen as part of a broader approach to prison reform that potentially signals a shift in how the government intends to address issues within the criminal justice system going forward. But there is a risk that the decision is going to be perceived negatively by the public, especially in light of those economic pressures, the tax increases, and the fact that we've seen so many prisoners released onto the streets already. So the question remains, how does this fit into a larger strategy for managing the growing prison population and for addressing systemic issues within the criminal justice system? So Keir Starmer's decision to do this, to increase prisoner pay, obviously represents a huge policy shift after 8 years of frozen wages in prisons. But while the government argues it will aid in rehabilitation and public safety, and their wages have been frozen for so long, it was inevitable that they'd have to bump up at some point. It comes at such a politically sensitive time as the country grapples with all these economic problems, the so-called £22 billion black hole. £4.4 million invested into wages for prisoners is likely to be a topic of, shall we say, intense debate going forward. I think the success of the policy will be judged on its long-term impact on rehabilitation and also its ability to contribute to a more effective prison system. Is it going to work? In the short term, it's obviously going to face criticism from those who view it as misaligned with the economic realities facing many Brits today. I think once again, it's a problem that this government have with political priorities and the optics of the decisions they're making. On the one hand, giving money away to prisoners whilst taking it from pensioners, giving 18, or at least 9 billion, maybe 18 by the time you watch this, 18 billion to Mauritius for Chagos, whilst at the same time raising taxes on businesses and therefore workers. All of this just seems a little bit politically tin-eared. So we'll see how it goes, but I can't say I'm particularly optimistic. In any case, thank you for watching. This has been Adam Cherry. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to GB News' YouTube for more of the latest.
At GB News, we believe in the power of free speech. We're not afraid to ask the tough questions, challenge the status quo, and give you a voice. While others silence dissent, we champion the truth. By becoming a GB News member, you're not just supporting free speech, you're defending it. Please consider supporting us today. Together, we'll hold the powerful to account and make sure that your voice is always heard. Simply go to gbnews.com/support and stand with us for what matters most.